Welcome to the Soulful Success by Design podcast. I'm Kendra Woods, your host, and a former corporate healthcare executive turned entrepreneur. After battling burnout, I discovered the magic of human design. As a 6'2" splenic projector, I am here to lead you on a journey of self-discovery, self-mastery, and unstoppable growth. So join me as we dive into the world of human design, mindset, energetics, and aligned success. We will talk about the highs and the lows of creating soulful and meaningful success in your life and business on your terms. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Soulful Success by Design podcast. I am your host, Kendra Woods, and we are going to continue our journey through the Unstoppable by Design series. And today we are diving into the human design type called generators. And so today we're going to walk through what it means to be a generator. We're going to discuss the generator purpose, some generator challenges, and also some alignment strategies that you can begin to implement in your life if you are a generator. So get comfortable, grab a pen, and let's dive into our discussion today. So first and foremost, we're going to talk about the type of being a generator, and we're going to dive into the strategy of a generator. And so pure generators make up 37% of the population. And what I mean by pure generators is that you are purely a generator. You are not the subtype called manifesting generator. You're a pure generator, meaning your sacral is defined and you have no motor to the throat. And so we'll get into some of those. We'll get into that a little bit into this episode. So your not self theme as a generator is frustration. And I want to clarify for a moment what I mean by not self, because you're going to hear me use that language throughout the history of this podcast as it pertains to human design. And so your not self theme is essentially the energetic theme that shows up when you are out of alignment, when you are not on the path that is correct for you. And it's really your guiding post to let you know when it's time to take a step back and really evaluate where you're at so that you can move yourself back into alignment. And so being a generator in human design, like I said, means that you have a defined sacral center. And for you as a generator, your sacral is very, very important when it comes to your overall well-being. Your sacral center has a really big job, and it is here to help you feel alive and creative and full of vitality. And so your relationship with your sacral as a generator should be your number one priority. And now if you're wondering where that is, if you're looking at your body graph, the sacral center is the center that is second from the bottom. And typically it's colored in red. So if you see that on your chart, then you know that you're a generator. And now also what we want to be mindful of is that the sacral is a motor center. And when we look at all the four motors, I don't know if you remember when I did the manifestor episode, I did a brief introduction to the motors. And so in human design, we have four motors. We have the will center, which is the little small square in between the emotional solar plexus and the G center. It sits to the right of the chart. And then you have your emotional solar plexus, your root center, and your sacral. So those are all four of the motors. And if we're looking at them from a hierarchical standpoint, your sacral is the one that has the largest motor, if you will, right? It's very, very powerful. And so this center has an energetic theme for you around workforce, life force energy, and sexuality. It has the power to guide and sustain life. And as a generator, your sacral is like your inner GPS, and it is really designed to respond to life and to communicate to you from a moment to moment type of level, to let you know what energy is available for you. And your sacral will let you know what energy is available for you, whether the energy is there or it's not there, through guttural sounds that you make as a generator. And we'll get into what those are in a moment. So next thing that you want to be mindful of as a generator is your aura, right? All the types in human design have an aura, and your aura is literally that energy field that people feel from you before they even make direct contact with you, right? Your aura extends 6 feet all around you. And it is that thing that people really feel when they're in your presence, when you walk into a room. And as a generator, your aura is open and enveloping. And one of the things that I like to say, as a projector, when I enter into that aura of a generator, it feels so inviting and like warm cookies, right? You know, when you walk into like your grandma's house and it smells like, warm chocolate chip cookies, and it's just like, instant comfort. That's what the aura of a generator feels like to me, right? So your aura is very open, it's enveloping, you are open and taking in everything around you. It's embracing. Your aura is very embracing, and it transmits this creative energy force, or this creating energy force. And so people feel that. And so this aura forms around you, and it has this energy field of availability. And this is very, very attractive to people. And we'll talk about the nuance of this in a moment around how, as a generator, you want to be very mindful of how the mechanics of your aura operates, because it is attractive to others. And you want that. But this is also where really being tuned in to your sacral, to what is right for you, to what is true for you, is going to be really important, so that you are not just making yourself available for all the things when really your sacral is telling you, no, this is not what we want to do. All right. So your strategy as a generator is to respond. You are here as a generator to live in response. And so typically when people first hear this, on your body graph, it may say that your strategy is to wait to respond. And again, people get hung up on the waiting. But what I want you to know as a generator is that it's not about like waiting and sitting back and just doing nothing and twiddling your thumbs, because literally you are always responding in some way, shape, or form all the time. You're always responding. So maybe you catch yourself smiling when you hear, birds singing, or maybe you catch yourself kind of responding to the smell of coffee and you're like, that smells so good. Or you find yourself maybe humming along with a song, or even talking to yourself, right? And I bring that up because my husband is a generator, and I'm going to use it as an example throughout this episode, because I clearly can see his generator tendencies. And so for him, when he is responding, sometimes his response to life looks like him talking things out to himself. So if he's listening to like his fantasy football, or he's listening to a podcast that he likes to listen to, I will hear him in the other room, like kind of having this conversation with himself, and he's literally responding to the person who is talking. Okay. So think about what that gets to feel like for you as a generator to respond to life. Okay. And when your sacral, when you allow your sacral to be in its natural essence of responding, you will notice that you make these expressive sounds that sound like or So meaning yes, or meaning no. And that is how your sacral responds. And so when you get a true right, meaning yes, then your sacral is letting you know that what you're being asked for, that the energy that is being asked of you, is there for you, and that you have the energy to carry out the task or the project or whatever that is. Whereas if you are getting a no, right, from your sacral, then your sacral is letting you know clearly that you don't have the energy for it, or maybe it's not even the right time. It may be that the timing is not right. And so your sacral is letting you know, no, now is not the right time. Now, in order for the power of your energy to be accessed, it must be asked for. So know that as a generator, you need for folks to ask you yes or no questions to help you access the truth of whether or not you truly have the sacral energy for what is being asked of you, right? Or whether or not something is right for you. And so if you have people in your life that you trust, that, colleagues or accountability partners or friends or whatnot, have them to ask you yes or no questions. Let them know that. Let them know that the way for you to really tap into your truth is by responding to a yes or no question. Because as a generator, when someone gives you an open-ended question, what you typically do is you go straight to your head to try to intellectualize it. And that is where generators get in trouble. So, for example, this morning, my husband and I went to an event at my daughter's school this morning. And so last night I asked my husband, I said, hey, I said, do you want to go and get breakfast in the morning after we come back from, our daughter's event? And he said, he said, yes, that sounds good. Right. So this morning after the event, we're in the car and my husband says to me, he says, so where do you want to go get breakfast? Now, I'm a projector, Clinic authority. And for me, I don't necessarily, when it comes to food, I don't know what I want until I see it in front of me. And then I can move towards it. My spleen will go, yes, you want this. And so instead of me sitting there and going, oh my gosh, I don't know, I gave him a question, a yes or no question to answer to. And I said to him, I said, do you want to go to another Broken Egg? That's the name of a restaurant here where we live. And that was a yes or no question for him to help him kind of tune in and help him tune into what he wanted and to kind of help me get clear on what I wanted. So I said, do you want to go to another Broken Egg? And he responded with the He was like, no. He's like, what about this? And so because I asked him a yes or no question, he was able to respond with what was true for him, which was a no. And then it allowed him to tap in even deeper to what was more true for him. And he recommended a restaurant that sounded good to him and it sounded great to me. So my spleen was like, yep, that sounds good. And so there we were on our way. Instead of sitting in the space of him asking me what I wanted and me going, oh, I don't know, I'm not sure. And then me asking him open-ended questions and him kind of, again, going, well, I don't know. And then we both get frustrated, right? So if you are a generator or you have someone in your life who is a generator, ask them yes or no questions, or have someone to ask you yes or no questions to really help you gain the clarity that you need to tap into the truth of your sacral. Okay. So responding is about waiting for something to come towards you, right? You as generators, you're literally here to allow life to come towards you so that your sacral can fully embrace it, or it can remain closed off to it and be like, nope, that's not it. So working on being able to cultivate a deep level of trust within yourself and also trusting in life and trusting that life will come to you and that you will always have something to respond to is going to be so important. And I find that because we are all walking around with conditioning, right? We most of us have grown up to be conditioned to operate like manifestors, to go out and initiate things, and generators, right? You are the same way. You've are kind of conditioned to think, okay, I got to go make this happen. I got to go initiate. And so because of that, you're not really moving from your sacral, you're moving from your head, you're moving from your not self, themes. And you may find yourself getting frustrated because you're hitting up against a wall or things aren't working out the way that you thought they should. And you're not feeling fulfilled. You're not feeling satisfied. And so this is because you're not here to initiate as a generator. You are here to literally respond to what life is bringing to you and tap into your truth. And so my point where I'm going with this, I kind of went down a rabbit hole on that, is beginning to cultivate a practice of tuning into your sacral every day and having someone ask you yes or no questions, or maybe you asking yourself yes or no questions, and bringing forth your truth from your sacral with that or is going to allow you to really begin to know what alignment feels like for you. Okay. And so we want to begin that practice of moving out of the head and moving into your body. And so you've got to work on that sacral connection. And so a lot of generators have kind of disassociated from the sacral and have moved away from that primitive sound that your sacral is designed to make. And if you think about this, we actually condition this out of kids, because if you watch children who are generators, how do they respond? If you, ask little, Timmy, hey, Timmy, do you want an apple? And he goes, or he goes, we then tell the child, no, respond with yes or no, please. Say yes or say no. Or, if we ask, baby girl Lily, hey, Lily, do you want to go to the park today? And Lily goes, or we then say, oh, well, that's not polite, honey. You want to make sure that you say yes or no. And so we condition this out of our children, but it is actually the natural response of the sacral. And so as an adult, right, you probably lived in your whole life going, yes or no, or that sounds good to me, or no, they don't really want to do that, instead of actually responding with your guttural for yes, or for no. And let me say this, there is some nuance to this, right? So right now in the series that I'm sharing with you, I'm really sharing with you the high level, broad understandings of human design. And so there's nuance to this, right? There are other elements in a chart that can kind of shift when I'm sharing to you a bit. So just take what I'm sharing with you write it down, but then know that if something doesn't resonate with you and you're kind of like, oh, I don't know about that, it could be because there's another element deeper in your chart, right, that is at play here. All right, so understand this is, again, it's the tip of the iceberg. There's so much nuance to this, but it's important to kind of break the pieces apart to understand the pieces before getting into the nuance. Okay, so we just went over type and strategy for a generator. And now I want to move us into your role and your purpose here as a generator. So as a generator, a part of your purpose is to build and become masterful at whatever it is you feel called to build in this world. And so building could look like building a family or building a business or building a community. Whatever that thing is that lights you up, you are here to become masterful at that thing. And so because you're defined, because your sacral center is defined, you're able to use this creative energy to do work that you love and to then completely exhaust your sacral energy each day in order for you to sleep well at night. And so I want to just stop here for a moment because this is very important for generators, right? You need to completely exhaust your sacral each and every day so that you can experience a level of deep satisfaction, number one, and number two, so that you can experience a good, restful night's sleep. So if you are a generator and you get to the end of your day and you're still feeling kind of restless, or you're feeling like, oh, I'm not ready to settle down, then there's still sacral energy that needs to be exhausted. So go for a walk, right? Go for a walk, go tinker in the garage with something, go, play with your kids, or go in the backyard and play with your dog, like whatever that is, use up all of your sacral energy. So you should get in the bed at night and feel deeply satisfied with your day, but also feel like, whew, I am tired. I am ready to go to sleep. Okay. And so part of your purpose here is to use all of your sacral energy towards the work that fulfills you, towards tasks and projects and things that really light you up. Okay. Your sacral motor, remember I said that the sacral center is a motor. It doesn't give up until what it has committed to is complete. So when you find that you are engrossed in something and you're enjoying it, you will have that sacral energy to keep going and going until you have completed what you have committed to. Okay. Now, I want to just, again, kind of pause here because it's important to be mindful that while you do have powerful workforce and life force energy that you're able to generate, you want to make sure that you aren't just using this energy for everything simply because you have it. So your energy that you have is yours, and it radiates this energy of availability to the world, right? And so people are going to be coming to ask to tap into your energy, and you're going to be responding with yes or no, to all the things. But we got to be very careful here, because if you fall into patterns of people pleasing, or you fall into patterns of feeling like you need to prove yourself, then what ends up happening here is, as a generator, you are saying yes to things that your sacral is going about. but you're saying yes with your mind, and you're entering into a project or a relationship or into a commitment, and you're trying to push your way through this. And what ends up happening is your sacral knows that it's not correct for you. And so you're not able to really generate the energy or the life force, workforce energy that you need or that you want to move through that. And this is where burnout can happen with generators. And we're going to talk about that when we get into some of the challenges of being a generator. Okay. So simply because you have the energy doesn't mean it's always a yes. Okay. So the other part here of your role and purpose is that you are literally here to truly know yourself and understand your own processes. So while other types are looking outward, right? We have projectors that are looking out to know the other energy types. We have manifestors who are here to impact the other. We have reflectors who are here to like understand the environment. And then we have manifesting generators who are kind of here to impact and to know themselves. As a generator, you are the one type that is truly here to know yourself and understand your process. So it's very much, your energy is very much like inwardly focused. Okay. And I can see this out in the marketplace, as a coach in the online world, I can easily pick out the generators, like the true pure generators, because I notice how they have like, these elaborate systems and formulas or recipes or frameworks for their process of getting you from point A to point B. And you'll notice this too out in the world, because most of our population is made up of generators and manifesting generators. 70% of the population is a generator type. And so when you're out in this world as an entrepreneur, or even if you're like in corporate, you're going to be walking into these frameworks and these processes that have been created by generators because they have mastered their process and now they want to share it, right? And so it's important to be mindful of that, because sometimes, like if you're a projector, for instance, a generator's framework or process may not be the framework or process for you, right? Because it's for them. And so this is why it's good to understand the different types, to understand your energy type, because if you are a projector walking into a generator world and the generator says, here's my process, here's my framework, just do this, and you'll be able to get to point B, you may become a bit jaded as a projector, because as a projector, you are here to guide, you're here to master a system, the thing that you feel passionate about, and guide people through that and guide the energy. And you may not be able to do that inside of the frame of a framework that a generator has created. Okay. So the process of a generator, when they get a yes response from their sacral, it's typically like the step-by-step process, and it works to cover all the stages of progress or development. And so, this is a neat example. So if you have like a manifestor looking at a generator, remember manifestors they're here to impact, they're here to initiate. And so it's like that fast, forward moving energy. When they look at a generator, they may think like, oh my gosh, like this person's moving so slow, so deliberate, so, step by step. But that is how the generator is designed to operate, right? You're designed to operate that because you're here to like cover all the stages of progress or development and make sure that each process, each stage is fully mapped out and clear. Okay. Now, because as a generator, you do not have a motor to the throat, you may experience periods of plateauing of energy along the way. And this is important to note if you're a generator, because you have like the stair-step learning / creative process. And so you're going to reach moments of plateau where you may think, oh my gosh, something's happening. You get frustrated. You think it's not working anymore. But really, it's during these periods of feeling quote unquote stuck. This is where generators need to be initiated again into their next step by receiving new insights, or further instruction. And so if you're a generator, you may feel tempted to quit during this process because you feel like things aren't working. And instead, it's not about that. This is really at this plateau. This is a time that you need to help to gather your energy up again, right? This is a space where you are being asked to pay attention to any new insights or any new information that wants to come into you, or any new input that is wanting, that's asking you to be, that's asking to be responded to, so that you can keep moving forward. So instead of quitting in those moments where you feel like you're hitting that plateau or you feel like you're stuck, recognize that it's time for you to fill yourself back up again, to be introspective and pay attention to what life is showing you that will assist you in moving the ball forward again. All right. It's also important during this time to understand, to again be mindful of what's happening here, but to also know that when you're in that plateau, one of two things are happening. I've already explained the first part to you, right? You're literally getting prepared for your next step of mastery. You are being asked to pay attention to the insights, new information, right? The other side of this is you may have reached a plateau because it is time for you to shift. And so when you reach a plateau, it's again going internal, being introspective and asking yourself the question, am I being asked to pivot or to shift my trajectory into a new pathway? Or do I need to just pay attention to the insights, the new information, the things that are coming my way? And I feel like that if you simply just, embraced your frustration and allowed yourself to be in that plateau and went internal to look at and pay attention to what new insights are coming your way and what new information is coming your way, that you will then know from that if it is correct for you to keep moving the ball forward or if you're being asked to pivot. Okay. So one of your innate gifts as a generator is your ability to perfect or master a task, a skill, or a project. Right? You are here for mastery. And so a part of your mastering process, I don't know if I said that right, part of your mastering process is to, you will experience frustration during that, right? But it's a part of your process and not something for you to, freak out about or feel like something's wrong with you. It's a part of you stepping further into mastering what it is you're here to master. Okay. All right, so we talked about kind of your role and purpose there, and now we're going to move into some of the challenges you may face. I'm just going to give you 3 to 4 things that you may notice as a generator. The first challenge is going to be the challenge of waiting to respond. Okay, and that's quite natural. You're here to respond to everything. However, like I said before, many generators are conditioned to want to initiate like manifestors, and this can lead you to feeling frustrated and operating from the mind instead of from your instincts, instead of from your sacral. You're not designed to figure things out ahead of time. You're here to respond in real time. So when you follow the mind, it's like moving through a rat race, and this ultimately leaves you feeling frustrated and unfulfilled. And when you move from your mind, you won't have the energy to support what your mind is telling you to do. And this will kind of lead us into our next challenge. But the goal here is to really practice your responding from your sacral with that or those guttural sounds. Okay. And when you notice that you're feeling anxious or restless or even put off around this idea of waiting to respond, recognize that this is just the not self-conditioning that's coming up for you, right? Because when we step into something new, when we begin to really step into alignment and into the truth of who we are, what happens? All of our stuff's going to come up. The monkey mind is going to go crazy. Things are going to come up. You're going to feel like, that you're not doing it right. You're going to feel frustrated. You're going to think that this is stupid or crazy or whatever. But when you can master this ability to just be in response, this is when you're going to really tap into that satisfaction and that level of fulfillment you're looking for. So now, when generators do not allow themselves to understand this whole idea of waiting to respond, it's very easy for you to hit burnout. So when you're not following your inner GPS or your sacral, then you're not able to tap into the sustainable quality of your sacral energy, which means you find yourself forcing and pushing your sacral motor. And this is like, driving a car that is, I don't know, 10,000 miles overdue for an oil change. And what's going to happen eventually? The motor is going to lock up on you. And so as a generator, if you're busy doing instead of responding from your sacral, what eventually happens is your sacral overheats, it blows out, and it leaves you feeling depleted. And so this is something that a myth I love to dispel, because people, out in the world will talk about generators, about how you're this Energizer bunny and you have all this energy and you have this sustainable energy. And that is absolutely true. You do have beautiful, sustainable energy. You're able to generate this beautiful energy, but that doesn't mean that you don't need to rest. Generators need to rest too, right? Your motors, the motors in human design, mechanically, the way they're designed to work is they're designed to work to rest, work to rest. So while your sacral can work and work and work and work and work, it gets to a point to where it's like, okay, I'm good. And you're going to feel exhausted. And then it's time for you to go and rest, right? And get some good sleep. So you want to make sure that you're not like diving headfirst into projects or making commitments with, this enthusiasm only to recognize that, oh, wow, I should not have said yes to that. Okay, because then you're overextending yourself. So the focus here in this challenge, the lesson here, I guess, is learning to respond to opportunities rather than initiating. And this can really help you to avoid overcommitment. And then the last challenge that I want to speak to here is finding fulfilling work. Because for generators, you have a strong life force and workforce energy moving through your sacral, and you thrive when you are engaged in work that you find satisfying and meaningful. But a challenge that can come up is finding work that truly resonates with you. And now I want to talk about this idea of work for a moment, because when we hear the word work, we think of traditional work, right? You're either an entrepreneur who's working in their business, or you're in, you have a corporate career and you're working in an organization. But this work for a generator could also be like something you do as a passion, right? Maybe you have a passion for gardening, or maybe you have a passion for, I don't know, for exercise, or you have a passion for hiking, or maybe you have a passion for, crafts and, doing things in the arts like painting or whatever. That could be something that is, it's work, but it's the right work for you, but it's your passion, and it drives you and it lights your sacral up and feels so good, right? So maybe that's your work. And then the work that you do to maintain your life and to provide for yourself, not to say that you hate your job, but maybe it's something that you're like, you know what, this is good. I like it. I can do this. But maybe what really, really fascinates you and gets you going is the thing that you do on the side, right? The hobby or the passion project. And for most of us, though, we want to be able to combine the two, right? I feel like we're moving into this phase where people aren't just wanting to work for the sake of working, right? For the sake of, because I'm going to get paid to do this. Many of us nowadays, we want to work and we want to have this sense of fulfillment. We want to marry our passions and the things that really get us excited with the service that we bring to the world, right? So if you're that kind of generator who's really like passion or purpose driven, then yes, it is going to be important for you to find work that allows you to live your life and provide for yourself and your family, and also really, really lights you up and gets you excited every day and just has your sacral on fire. Okay. I hope that makes sense. All right. So those are a few of the generator challenges that you may notice. And so as I'm saying this to you, be mindful of these for yourself. Start looking at, do I feel challenged around this? Is this a challenge for me? Or maybe you're not experiencing this. Maybe you are not experiencing burnout. Maybe you're not experiencing a challenge around waiting to respond. But then this is your invitation to look at, okay, well, where do I feel challenged? And to start getting clear on what that means for you and what that is for you. Okay, so what are some alignment strategies that you can step into as a generator? I'm going to share three with you here. The first one is around responding rather than initiating, right? So one of the core principles for generators is to respond to life's opportunities and stimuli rather than initiating action. And so you will often find as a generator your true path and satisfaction by responding to people, situations, and projects that naturally align with your energy. So practicing patience and waiting for that clear sacral response can really help you and support you in stepping into your alignment. Because when you do this, it ensures that you're investing your energy in activities and commitments that you genuinely resonate with. Okay. You can, in this category, you can help yourself gain the clarity you need by having someone ask you yes or no questions, right? If anything, I would say, like in with this alignment strategy of responding rather than initiating, the activity that I want to invite you into is to grab your best friend, your business bestie, or a colleague at work that you're really good friends with, a sibling, whomever, and say, hey, I would love to gain some clarity around whatever thing is you want to gain clarity on, and say, can you ask me yes or no questions? And here's a caveat to this, right? Because if someone asks you a yes or no question, and instead of you recognizing the immediate or from your sacral, instead you're kind of like, I don't know, then that is an opportunity for the person to rephrase the question, or it may not be the right time, right? So if I'm working with a client and we're talking about, writing a book, for example, or, something to that effect, or this person, I'm working with a client and they're talking about maybe they're going to be moving soon or whatnot, and I'm asking them yes or no questions, and I say, do you want to move to Colorado? And they kind of hesitate for a moment and they go into their head and go, I don't know. Then I rephrase the question. And if they're still kind of like, not getting that clear sacral sound, then the next question becomes, okay, well, is now the right time for you to be moving to Colorado? Is now the right time for us to be having this conversation? Because maybe the timing is just not there, right? So the next alignment strategy that I would share with you for generators is to experiment and explore. If you really want to know what lights you up, what gets you that full-on like sacral yes, then you want to experiment with a variety of experiences and opportunities to really learn what truly excites you and what truly fulfills you. And so this may include like trying different jobs, trying different hobbies, different relationships, or maybe if you're an entrepreneur, you're trying out like different offerings or different services, different products. If you're in the corporate world, maybe you are allowing yourself to get involved in different things in your company to see what lights you up. And so then you can get really clear how your body feels when the sacral is going, right? And you can get really clear when the sacral is lit up and saying, yes, let's do that. Okay, because it's a visceral response, right? And so by giving yourself permission to experiment and explore, then you get to understand what your process looks and feels like, okay? And then the last thing I'll share with you here around alignment strategies is to embrace your frustration, right? I said this earlier but this is a part of your process. And when you can embrace it and see it as a guiding post, then you learn what needs to happen to help you maintain your alignment. And so when you embrace your frustration, you're able to discern whether you're being called to shift or what you're doing, or if you're being called to work through your next level of mastery. So when you find yourself feeling frustrated, see if you can have some compassion for yourself. See if you can develop some patience with yourself and go, okay, what is this frustration trying to tell me? Because as a generator, this is your not self theme, frustration. And so it is your opportunity to step back and go, oh, okay, I'm feeling frustrated. Why is that? Do I know why I'm feeling frustrated? Maybe talking with someone and having them ask you yes or no questions to help you get clear on what the frustration is about. That will help you. All right. Okay. So those are 3 alignment strategies that you can begin to play with. and begin to embrace. And I want to say I'm offering you these different alignment strategies for each of these episodes that we're doing here because in my mind, there are different levels of how you really engage with human design. The first level is education, right? So I'm giving you that here on this podcast. I'm educating you on the different types, how, human design, all that good stuff. The next step is integration. You got to begin to take what you're learning and begin to integrate it into your life. And that's why I'm giving you these alignment strategies so that you can begin to step into that next stage of integrating so that you can then move on to the last stage and step into the last stage, which is embodiment. Okay. So that is it for this episode around generators. Next episode coming up is going to be around manifesting generators. So that's going to be a fun episode. And so what I would love for you to do is, if you're a generator and you're listening to this episode, feel free to reach out to me. I invite you to send me a DM over on Instagram. I'm at Soulful Success by Design. Send me your questions. Let me know what came up for you. If you have any generator colleagues or friends or clients who you think would benefit from hearing today's show, share this link with them, point them to the podcast and let them hear this. And then you all can have some great conversation about what came up for both of you. So today we discussed what it means to be a generator, your challenges, your role, and some alignment strategies. I want to thank you so much for listening. And I also want to share with you a very special gift that I've created for you for this series. And it's called my Alignment by Design Guidebook. And so I created this for you to support you in creating authentic success and self-expression through helping you gain a deeper understanding of how you're designed. And so in this guidebook, you are going to find detailed information on your purpose by human design type. So there's a whole section for generators, an understanding of your internal power by type, and also some soul aligned journal prompts to support you in your alignment. And so I will leave the link for you in the show notes, and you can go grab that free resource and really begin doing some deep work for yourself around your alignment. And I'm also going to leave a link if you desire to book a human design reading because you want to go more deeper into the nuances of your design. I will leave that link for you as well so that you can book that in for yourself and we can have deeper discussion about your unique design. All right. So thank you so much for tuning in. Connect with me at Soulful Success by Design over on Instagram. Follow the show. If you are loving this, I would really appreciate if you would give us a review here. That really helps to get this message out there to more people. And I'm going to leave you with that. This is Kendra with Soulful Success by Design. So go out there and create success from your soul and on your terms.